Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, welcome to Easy Cloud Trip. Today we are going to talk about a sequel. It's not just a sequel, it's a quick start sequel. So in this playlist we will be covering most of the things practical way. So basically we are not going to spend any time on explaining the things in a theoretical manner. So everything we will be implementing and we will be learning along with that. So that's so special about this playlist and that's why we are calling this as a quick start sequel. So, without wasting much time on this introduction part, let's get directly into the agenda. So, these are all the things we are going to cover in this playlist. So, we're going to talk about the backup and restore. We are going to talk about the DDL and DML, and we are going to talk about the session setting and permission, and at last we will be talking about a service broker. And today, in this video, we will be talking much more on permission, authorization, and authentication. So I'll also explain how to install a SQL server and how to install a client. Okay, so we will be talking in a few minutes. So before jumping into a practical way of downloading and installing the things, so I want to take a few minutes to explain a few important concepts. So which is called authentication and authorization. So in your experience, maybe you're a fresher or you may be inexperienced, you hear the word right what is authentication or the authorization somewhere, right? So basically authentication is nothing but your username and password. Okay, if I'm giving my username and password, if my password is right, it allows me to log in. If my password is wrong, it doesn't allow me to log in, right? So this type of condition, or this type of block, okay, entry point check, basically this type of check we will call as authentication. Okay, user, if you are entering a username and password, it will go ahead and cross check behind the scene, and if it is correct, it allows you to log in to the application. So that is called an authentication. So coming to an authorization, it's simple. Once after you authenticated, then you should, so everyone should not have all access, right? Your manager may have a different access, you have a different access, your TL has a different access, your our CEO of a company have a different access, right? So if CEO logs into an application, CEO may see in a different screen. If different screen in the sense, suppose our application contain 100 screens, okay, so everyone is not able to access those 100 screens. Some of the screen will be accessible only by the admins. Some of the screen will be accessible only by the developers. Some of the screens accessible only by the testers, right? These type of grouping and these type of giving an access once after the login is enabled. So that is we call as an authorization. So you may get confused why we are talking an authorization authentication for a SQL. What is the relation between these authentication authorization in SQL exactly? So backend also, it's not for SQL. So backend database, I mean it is Oracle or it may be anything. So the backend also have this concept authentication and authorization. Okay, so I will show you. Basically, you can remember it. Authentication is your identity, maybe your identity card. Okay, authorization is like what level you have an access. Okay, so that is the main difference between the authentication and authorization. Okay, so let's get directly jump into a core concepts of database. Okay, so I'll be explaining these things. Okay, so before coming to these things, I will show you how to download a SQL server and SQL server client. Okay, SSMS, which we call as SSMS. So we do have a latest version of SQL server 2022. So you can type SQL Server 2022. So you will get a Microsoft link. Click here, and you'll go and you'll we can download from here. Okay, you can come down, you can download an express version, or else you can download a developer version. Okay, so once you download it, so you two things you need to download it. One is the SQL server, okay, which we'll call as a SQL server, and next thing is a client. Okay, client is nothing but we should have, we server is sitting at one place. Okay, but we need to talk to our server, right? So client allows us to talk to a client. Through by a client, we can talk to a server. So that's why we need two things. If you have a server, you need a client to talk with that. So for a SQL server, we have a SSMS. So we will call SQL Server Management Studio. You need to install this SSMS. There is a different way of talking to the SQL server. Okay, so if you have a Visual Studio Code, you can do that. Okay, but the standard way is this is standard way of connecting to a SQL server. This have a lot more feasibility, so a lot more facility features when you are talking to a SQL server. That's why it is always recommended. So you can click here, it will get downloaded, and two things you need downloaded. One is server, SQL server, SQL server, and another one is SQL server management studio. Okay, this one you can click here, it will download it. That's it. Okay, I already installed in my machine. That's why I'm not downloading it. So if you click here, you can come down. You can click this one, and that's it. It will get downloaded. So installation of this is very easy. It's just next, that's it. Okay, and but the installation of a server is little bit tricky. Okay, so my recommendation as a beginner, so there are a lot more options will be, while installing, there will be a lot more option. It will ask, do you want to install this thing, do you want to install this thing, do you want to do you want to integrate the Azure? So a lot more things will ask you, but don't do that as of now as a beginner. So if you want that extension, then you can very well go ahead and do that. So if you have enough space in your drive, you can do that. So basically, this the speciality of SQL Server 2022 was we can integrate or we can talk with the Azure services. That's the special about this SQL Server 2022. Okay, there are different ways of connecting to a SQL Server 2022. You need not to install. You may not to install the SQL Server also. So basically, there is a different option I have shown in my earlier playlist, right? Under a SQL playlist. So if you have a portal, if you have access to the Azure, if you have a subscription, then you need not to install this one. You can directly go ahead and you can create your services within a minute. You can create your SQL server. I will show you that also. So once you inside your portal, if you have, why I am going in a standard way, like so everyone doesn't have this subscription, Azure subscription, right? They want to practice only the SQL. Okay, they don't not interested. If they are not interested to explore the Azure services, they can download the server and they can install the client and they can play around with that. For that, you need not to pay anything. But here, everything is money. Okay, remember. So you can type SQL, you can go ahead, SQL Server, you can create it, just you can connect it. That's it. So it will provision you a SQL Server. You can directly connect it. You need not to install anything in your local machine. So that's the beauty of a cloud. Okay. So once after the server and the client is installed, okay. So if you have any doubts on installation, if you want to show me how to install the things, just let me know in the comments. So I will show you how to install the things. What you need to install. Okay, just install a database engine. That's it. That alone we need as of now. Don't enable all the things while you are installing the server. So once you installed, so you need to type it. You need to install the two things. Okay, one is SQL Server. So once you install the SQL Server, just go to services.msc. So you need to verify whether the server is properly installed and up and running. So just type yes. So here you can find I have. So the beauty is in your local machine you have multiple instances of SQL Server. I have a 2019 and also I have a 2022. I may have a multiple instance. See, I have a two instance, so that's why it is showing like this. So if you write, so this is the 2022. Okay, so if you have a two instance, you need to give different name. Okay, that while installing it will ask you. No, don't worry about that one. So this is a 2022 one, 2022. If you go to properties, so it will show you the path. So you can also verify the path. copy this one, go to here. So this is the place where my SQL Server 2022 is installed. So the main thing here is data. Okay, so we will be exploring these type of things little bit later. I don't want to confuse a lot more, so directly we will jump into a querying part. Okay, so when it is up and running, make sure it is up and running. Okay, if it is in a stop mode, you need to start this service, then only you can able to connect to a server. So now what I'm going to do, ssms. So once you installed everything, just type ssms. So you will get a 29. I have a two version of client. Okay, one is 18 and one and 19. So 19 is the latest one. So anything is fine. It's just a client. That's it. So I'm clicking on the ssms. Okay. So this is how it will open. Second. Okay, so this is how it opened. So this is the first screen you will be seeing once after you installed your SQL Server and SSMS. So it will automatically, it gives you the server name. This is the server name. Okay, so here the authentication part. So we have seen, right? So this is where the authentication comes in. We do have a n number of ways to authenticate ourselves. Okay, if you are have a in your company, mostly you will be using the SQL Server authentication. Okay, SQL Server authentication. You will be typing the login name, and you will be typing a password. Okay, so basically, if in your local machine, you can also enable the Windows authentication. You not to give a password or username. Just you can click connect, it will get connected in your local machine, it will work. But if you are working for a company, then obviously they will be creating a one login and password. By using that, we can able to connect to a server. This is where the authentication, there are the different methods. If you are in Azure, so there are different methods to connect to one SQL. So these are the ways of connecting. Okay, so as of now, I'll be covering two things. One is Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication. Windows authentication, by default, you need not to provide any username and password. If you click connect, that's it, it will connect. But username and password, so by default, when once after your you know done with the installation of a SQL Server, while installing, it will ask you, do you want to authenticate in a mixed mode, or by default mode, or a mixed mode? SQL, okay, by mixed mode, in the sense you can give your own password, but the username is SA. Okay, you can type SA. By default, it will give you SA. The password, whatever you typing, during your installation. Okay, that's it. So there are two ways of logging. One is Windows authentication, another one is username and password. Okay, I hope everyone is clear. So this is all about the authentication. My authenticate Now I'm authenticated. Okay, I've authenticated by my Windows login, and also I've authenticated by username and login. Okay, fine. Now I connected to the server. Okay, so now the next important thing is we need to understand what are all the things inside my server, right? So before querying, it's very important to understand what and all we are going to deal with the server. Okay, remember two things, just two things only. One is server level, another one is database level. Two level only. Okay, yeah, so in a SQL Server database, there is only one two level. Okay, yeah, one is server level, another one is database level. Server level, if you see, these are all the server level: security, server object, application, everything corresponding to the server level. But if you expand the database, these are all the database level. So even, okay, here it is one security. Oh, as of now, just see, I'm showing some hierarchy here. Okay, don't get confused. I will talk about this one. Don't worry. Okay, no worries. So basically, if you see here, this security, right? I'm expanding the database. If you see here, there is another security. There is here security, here security, here, right? So this is the important thing we need to know, this security is database level. This security is server level or instance level. We will call server as an instance. Okay, this is an instance. We will call it a SQL Server instance, and this will call as a database. Okay, this is a database. Okay, if you expand the database, all your database will resides inside. By default, it will create a system database, master, model, MSTB, and MTB. By default, it automatically will get created. Okay, you need not to touch this. Okay, it automatically get created. This is all the user level databases. I will show you. Okay, how you need to create a database. Everything I will show you. Okay, just remember, one is database level, another one is server level. That's it. So now what I'm going to do, we will start writing a code. So first thing, before writing straight away into the code, so today we are going to cover a permission, right? So as part of a permission, I would like to introduce a few things. Okay, so think about real time scenario. We will be going to talk about a real time scenario. Okay, so suppose you are a fresher, you are joining in a company. Okay, so you are a database developer basically. So okay, so you are a fresher, you are a database developer. So your TL asks you to work on a simple, one use case, basically one issue, or maybe one new development. Okay, suppose you are going to you are going to work on a new development for a database project. Okay, so what is the first thing you will require? You will require a access, right? Without having an access, you can't able to access a database, right? So what you will do, you will request your TL that I need access to the particular database and particular server. So what your TL will do, TL will reach out the admin. Okay, so TL will tell you, okay, so give an access, particular access. Okay, don't give so will they give you a prod access? Will they give you a UAT access immediately? Will they enable this access for you? No, of course no, right? Since you are a fresher, they won't because they won't give you all access immediately, right? First they will give you a few access in the sense, you select, basically you cannot able to create anything, but you can view the things. But okay, you cannot able to update anything, but you can select the table and you can view the things. Even a view also, there is some restriction will have. Okay, you can able to view the HR records, but you cannot able to view the sales record. Okay, so why they need to expose everything to you? Whatever is required for you, those alone they will give an access for you, right? That is more than enough for you. So that is called an authorization. Okay, that's where an authorization comes to a play. So now here I will show you authentication. I've shown you. While login, you are giving a username and password. That's it. Authentication. Authorization, I'll show you. Now what we will do, we will create one database. So always, SQL query language is very simple. Okay, don't get think like it is very complex. No, it is very very simple. Create. I want to create one database. That's it. Create database. I'm creating AZ Cloud Trip. Done. I have created one database. So if I refresh here, I got my database, AC Cloud Trip. Okay. Suppose I'm working for you. Consider that I'm an admin. I'm working for you. I'm going to give a particular access to you. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm created one database for you. I don't want to give all the database access to you. Okay. So I'm created one database, AC Cloud Trip. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one login for you. Create, same thing. Create, okay, login, new user with password equal to hi. That's it. I created one login for you. Okay, so you need to use this login new user and your password is hi. So next what I'm going to do, I need to this user, okay, this login will have a scope particular to the database, not particular to the whole instance. You remember the instance level. I'm not going to give the instance level access to you. I'm particular to a database. Only this database level you should have an access. So for that, what I'm going to do, create user. I'm going to create one database user. Okay, so new user. So you can give any username. Okay, dev user and give it dev user. Okay, for login new user. Okay, so I have created one database user. Now dev user is a database user. Okay, now next step. So here the important part. Okay, so as like you, many people, okay, as like you, many can join a project, right? I may not able to create a one login for everyone, right? I may not create a each individual things, right? So for that, what I will do, I will create one role. Okay, create role, uh, create role, new user role. New user role. So I'll be creating one role. Okay, this is a one role. Okay, basically what I'm going to do, instead of giving access to a particular user, I'm going to do, I'm going to create one role and I'm going to give access to that role and I'm going to add you to that role. So automatically the inherits will happen. So if you're still confused, don't worry. I'll explain you. Okay, I created one role. Okay, so next thing what I'm going to do, I'm going to add your user to this row. Okay, alter row, new role, add member. This is a dev user. I've added this. That's it. So what I did, I created one role. Okay, that so and also, and I added your user no below that role. Okay, just it. I've created one role and attached you to that role. I assigned one role to you. That's it. So what? So till now I didn't give any access to you. Okay, I have created everything new. I didn't give any access to anyone. Okay, anyone in the sense for this role. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grant access. Okay, so what I'm going to do, grant. So grant is a keyword you need to use. So there are a list of things we'll have. Okay, there are so but there is a schema. Okay, so we need to follow the structure or a syntax. Okay, the syntax. Okay, syntax is main. Okay, so there are a lot of things we can grant it. Okay, so I will show you that one. So basically, if you see here, I have created, so these are all the things we are going to do. Okay. So basically, I have added till this level. So next thing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give some access to you. Okay. So, so basically, uh, before discussing this thing, okay, granting things or authorization things, I would like to introduce one more things which will be very helpful for you whenever this granting operation takes place, or else you may get little confused. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go back here and I'll come here. Okay. So as we discussed, you know what is instance. Instance is nothing but a server level. Okay. So inside instance, we will have a database, DB1. Okay. So inside database, we have a schema. Schema 1, schema 2, n number of schema we will be having. Schema is nothing but a kind of grouping. Okay, so as of now, consider schema is a kind of grouping. Okay, this is a one group and this is another group. So under one group, you may have a n number of tables. Under another group, you may have a n number of tables. So between these two schema, a table name can be a same, because this table will come under this schema, this table will come under a different this schema. Okay, but schema name may not be the same. Schema is name should be a unique, but under schema table name can be anything. Okay, and maybe so if you have under the schema, if you see table 1 tb1 tb2, it's a two table I am having. Under schema 2 I'm having a tb1 again tb2, same name, right? This is possible. Okay, because this two are coming under this group, this two are coming under this group. So this schema coming under this database coming under this instance. So this is the hierarchy. Okay, so I hope everyone know, everyone is clear, right? So this is the hierarchy. First is instance, second is a database. Under database we have a schema. Under schema we have a table. This is a hierarchy. Now let's jump back to here. Now what I'm going to do, okay, I am going to give you access for this database, but for this schema alone. You cannot able to access this schema. Two, you can able to access schema one, okay, but you cannot able to access schema two. That is what I'm going to do. Okay, so back here, and I'll give alter on schema. This is all about a syntax. You need not to memorize anything. This is all about a syntax. Okay. So before that, what I'll do, I'll create a particular schema for you. Create schema NW. Let me go for a small case itself. So here the thing is, SQL is case insensitive. Either you can type in uppercase or lowercase. It doesn't matter. Okay, like other programming languages, it is not case sensitive. It is case insensitive. Okay, you can type it as smaller or caps. That doesn't mean anything. Create schema, new, you. So this is a schema. Okay. So what I will do, Uh, so I said I made one mistake here. So basically, I'm creating everything under a master database. So what I need to do, because I'm creating everything for a database level, I need not I should be using that database for creating everything. So once after the database created, you need to put use easy cloud trip, use this one, create login. I think it's login is server level. But database user, this is a database user. This is a new role, adding a user, create a schema. Okay. Now I got a, now I'm at the database level. I'll be doing everything at a database level. So I am an admin. See the login here. I'm an admin. I can do anything. Okay. So that's why it is allowing me for everything. Schema. So a grant alter on schema to, I'm not going to two after two. You also give a username, okay, which user you want to grant access, and also you can give a role. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign a role. Okay. So yes, I've I have given one permission to this role. So now I want to see the permission. How you need to see the permission? There is a system tables is there. Sys dot database underscore principal. This is a one first table, and another table is permission. These two tables more than enough. So I'll be querying this database principal, and dev user. I'll be picking up yes, dev user. I'll be picking up this role, new user role. Okay, I'll be picking up this one. I want to see the permission. Let me query this one, where grantee principal ID equal to 6. Great. So there are a lot of information available here. Okay, you should be very as of now we do have a only alter permission, right? So we should be very careful while giving the where clause. Okay, the column name should be appropriate. Okay, like there are few columns of the grantee and the grantor principal ID. We should not use a grantor principal ID. Grantor principal ID is my principal ID. Grantee principal ID is the new role principal ID. Okay, so if you see here only alter is there. So now let me what I'll do. I will connect through by a new user. Let me go by here. Okay. So there are two ways to test this scenario. Okay, one is by a normal way we can give a username and password, it will work. Or as from admin point of view, what they will do, they will execute. They will do one use a shortcut here. Execute as a user. They can able to play all roles and they can execute the query and test it. So as of now, no, I will show you the straightforward way. Let me new user, and what is our username? One second. Our username is new login username is username. Hi is my password. So let me one second. New user. Now it is connected. So as we see, so you are connected with a new user, and this is this is a different login. My login. This is a new user login. So I'm expanding my database. Now what I'll do, I will because like I have given access to you for this database alone, this database and all, you don't have an access, correct? So now we will test that one. So use. So if you want to switch the database, you need to use the keyword use. I will try with read to. No, it's saying clearly, right? The server principal new user is not able to access this database under a security constraint because I didn't give a permission to access this database. So that's perfect, right? I've given only access to this Easy Cloud Crypt database. So what about other database? No, I don't have access. What about other database? No, I don't have access, right? So what about Easy Cloud Crypt? Yes, I do have an access. So this is working perfectly, right? So you have only access to the particular database. Now we are inside a particular database. This user having a access to a particular database alone, basic cloud rate database alone. Now next thing is we will try to uh, do some things. Okay, something we will try to create it, something we will try to insert it, something we will try to select it. We will see whether for those we are having a permission or not. Start from start tables. Can able to see this one, but the record is main because this is a system table. Record is there. Okay, it or record will be there, but you cannot able to see this because of a permission thing, right? Understood. You can if you, it doesn't mean like you are querying this table that you have an access. You are not seeing anything. That's thing here. Okay, so you don't have access to see this records in a tables. So let me create one thing. Let me try to create table dbo dot. I think DBO is a database owner will call. That is also a schema. By default, schema is DBO, database owner. So we have created a one new schema, new user schema, right? So basically for that schema only, I have given permission. So we will see whether we can able to create under a DBO table. No. Clearly it is saying create table permission denied in database AZ Cloud Prep. For this user, you don't have a permission to create. You don't have a permission to create under this schema. Let's try to create the same table under our new schema. This is our new schema, right? This is the schema we have used. Schema. So for this also, it is not allowing me to create as of now. Because it is saying that you don't have a proper permission to create anything. So that is what it is saying. Okay. So now what we will do, we will go back here. We will check the permission things. So what I will do, and create table to this role. I'm granting a create table permission. Okay. I'm granting a one access. I'm adding one access to this role. So we can able to create a table. So now let me go back and query this one. Create table. Right? Create table. One access is added here. So let me go back the same. See, the thing is, observe here, new user. Okay, this is my user. I can do anything from my session, but this is a session which we will be testing right now. So I'm running this one again. Now I can able to create it. Right, it's done. I'm able to create this also. See, I can able to create this one, but I cannot able to create under a different schema. So this is the beauty of an authorization. So you cannot able to create other than the schema, new user. So that level we have restricted. Okay. So that is why it is showing error here. See, the specified schema name either doesn't exist or do you have a permission to use it. So that's the beauty of it. So now what I'll do, we have created a table. Now let me try to insert something. So query syntax and all, don't worry. I will explain you. Okay. As of now, just observe what is authentication and authorization, how it is implemented in SQL Server. New user dot table select one. Okay. Now what is it saying? You don't have a permission to insert it. You have a permission to create it, but you don't have a permission to insert the record. So now what we will do, we will give a insert access. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll go here, grant insert to this role. I'm not giving to a user. I'm giving to this role. Automatically, you are coming under this role, so that it will applicable to you also. So I'm going back to the new session, or new user session, and let me try the same query again. Now it is executed. That's it. Now what and all access you are having? Let me see. You are having create table access, insert access, alter access. So you are you are having these many access as of now. But if you want to, okay, let me go one more step. Suppose you want to update the thing. Let me try with the update query. New user of TVL set now equal to 2. There you go. So you don't have an update permission. Okay, you can able to insert a multiple records. See, I can able to insert another record, but I cannot able to update anything. But I don't have an access. So this is the level of authorization. Okay. So now what I will do, I will grant insert, like I will grant update to new user. Let me see. Yep. Now this role is having this many access. Let me go to this session. Now I'll try to update it. Got it. That's it. Now last thing is delete. Delete from new user table. Delete. Same thing. You don't have access to delete it because admin didn't give an access to you. How come you can delete the record? Right? So this is a real-time scenario in our company. Like every access, okay, you won't get all access at a time. So this is how admin will restrict. Okay, based on the role and based on the users, this is how admin will restrict you. So I'm going to give a delete access also for a new user and new role. Let me test that also. So here, delete. That's it. Got done. Okay, now last thing, the alter. I have shown you the alter permission, right? As of now, I do have an alter permission. What I'll do, I will revoke this one. I'm going to remove this alter permission. Remove alter permission on this role. Come down. See, alter permission is not there. So what do you mean by an alter permission? Basically, you cannot able to change the table structure. Okay, so table structure, or you cannot able to drop anything, or you cannot able to add a column. So that is what a new user. Let me drop. Let me try to drop this table. So you cannot able to drop the table, and even you cannot able to add one more column. Let me try that also, because you are touching the table structure. You are altering the table structure. The table name, add column, to int, add num to hint. Right. See, you don't have a permission to alter the table structure. How come you, even drop the table or alter the table? So this is how the prod environment will be set up. By mistake, even by mistake, also we should not drop any table. Okay. So that's where the authorization helps you. So now I'm going to grant the alter. Let me try the same query again. See, I've added one column. If I select the column, let me select the table. It the select permission. Now see, the select permission is not here. I didn't give select permission. I gave all the permission, right? I gave all the permission, but I didn't give select permission. Now, if you see here, how beauty it is. See, we have all the permission, but you don't have a select permission. How come you select the records, right? So next, what I'm going to do, select, right? But effective. I've given a select permission now. Let me query this step. Now you can see the records. All right. Okay. Now what we will do, we will try to drop the table. Since you have a alter, okay, remember we have given an alter permission. So you can able to drop and you can able to add a column. See, alter is there. You can able to drop. Yes, that's it. So this is how the authorization is controlled inside the SQL Server. So basically, this is what admin will do whenever any new role to be created or any new user to be created. When you want to, restrict the access to you, anything. Okay. So this is the first and foremost thing will happen whenever you requested for access to the database. You may not get all the access, remember. So I think this will help you to get a better idea about the authorization and authentication. So let's so in the coming session we will talk about the syntax of a SQL, how to create a table, blah blah blah, everything we are going to see in a practical way. So just follow the session and give comments. If any feedback is there, just put it in my comments. So thank you so much. Thank you for your valuable time.